Over the past few months, I've sat down with nearly 20 world-class bassists for masterclasses all about technique, tone, groove, improvisation, all kinds of stuff. And right now, I want to share just a few of the favorite things I've learned from them. I've been putting together a free event called the Become A Bassist Summit. Basically, I've gathered nearly 20 bass players to give all kinds of masterclasses completely free. They're all super legit players, like some of their playing credits are people like David Bowie, John Mayer, John Legend, Robben Ford, Clarkson, Kanye West, you know. If you're interested in checking out the masterclasses, check out the link in the description. It's all in there. But right now though, I want to share some of these kind of cool insights that I've learned from them. The first one I want to share came from Brian Bella, who's been the bassist for musicians like Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, as well as his own supergroup, the Aristocrats. Now he is really known for being incredibly meticulous, especially when it comes to sound and tone, and that's exactly what we talked about in Brian's masterclass. Brian's whole thing is that sounds make songs. We've all got the same 12 notes, and this is what he said, but the sound you make is the source that glues your brain to the emotional nerve center of why you like music. I was like, whoa. So we actually walked through some songs on his latest album, and he showed me all the different instruments he chose to get the sounds that he wanted, why he chose them, all his different pedals and amps and techniques that he uses to get all of his sounds. It was pretty incredible, and it actually got me thinking about my own sound and how I can use different tones on a recording session I have coming up next month. Originally, my plan was to just rock up with my Spectre and just kind of go for it, but now I'm thinking that one song has to have like a really woolly P-bass sound, one song could really use a J-bass sound played with a pick, maybe a bit of overdrive to kick things along, and that's not something I had planned on doing before kind of Brian got into my head and got me thinking about all these different tonal possibilities, which is just making me even more excited for this recording session. The second insight I want to share with you comes from Ian King. Now, if you don't know Ian, he is like the first call bassist in London's West End. He's played just about every high-profile show you can think of. In fact, most recently, if you've seen Hamilton, an American musical on Disney+, or even seen it live in London, Ian is the guy playing bass on all that stuff. And we sat down and we talked all about groove and feel. Ian's insight is like a practice thing I hadn't ever heard of before. It's that he'll learn songs, play along with them on his bass a few times, and when he thinks he's nailed it, he'll do the same thing again, but with his volume all the way down so he can't hear what he's playing on his bass. Now, it sounds kind of weird, right, to practice without being able to hear yourself? But the real secret, the real trick is in what Ian does next. He plays along without being able to hear himself, but listens intently to the recording as he plays. And if there's any point where what he's hearing doesn't match what he knows his fingers are playing, then there's that disconnect there, right? So at that moment, he knows he needs to stop, fix something or change something, and keep working on it. It's a super simple trick, but man, I've already started using this in my own practice, and it's awesome. It really kind of lays bare the places where you need to work on a groove or a bass line so you can make it sound as good as possible. Insight number 3 came from David Labrooy, who's played with super heavy acts like John Legend, Kelly Clarkson. He was the bassist on the first 2 John Mayer studio albums and a bunch of the live ones as well. He's the kind of bassist you've almost certainly heard on the radio, you just might not have known that it was him. The thing that stuck out to me about David's masterclass was the idea of using fear as fuel. Now this is definitely something I related to, especially like if I'm doing an important gig or an important recording session and you see that little red blinking record light, a whole kind of bubbling emotions can come up, nerves and all that kind of thing. His whole philosophy with all that kind of stuff is that all those emotions can be used to fuel your performance rather than sabotage it. He explains it as fear and all the accompanying emotion as something that's good to accept rather than fight, because once you accept it and you're not fighting against it, you can kind of harness it and redirect that stuff into your performance. It's almost like a Zen type, like judo approach of doing things, and talking to David really kind of set off that light bulb for me. None of those emotions are bad as long as you use them in the right way. Now at the Become a Bassist Summit, there's masterclasses for beginners if you're just starting out, masterclasses for intermediate players if you just want to kind of patch some holes in your playing and try and take it to that next level, and there's even a few masterclasses if you're a bit more advanced and you've already got some experience. It's easily the coolest, most ambitious thing I've ever done with Become a Bassist, and like I said, I want to share it with you. It's super easy to get a free ticket, just click the link in the description. All the details are there, you can just sign up with an email address. Starting this Monday, I will send you all the masterclasses with all these incredible bassists, just teaching their absolute butts off. I can't wait to share the full summit with you, and I'm sure you'll be able to get a ton out of it, no matter what your current bass playing level is. So just click right here or in the description, and I'll see you at the summit.